From the recovery of one of the world's most important forests to a groundbreaking drug that could potentially treat bone cancer, and from a historic treaty that could single-handedly save the entire world's oceans to the rediscovery of an elusive bird species in Madagascar. Here are some of the most recent good news stories from around the world. India's forests recovering. We start off with a story from India. Despite the country being one of the top carbon polluters in the world, India's actually trying to improve and has seen some positive change. According to a recent report, the size of the country's forests has significantly increased. Just in 2021 alone, India's forest cover has increased by as much as 2,300 square kilometers. That's roughly the size of the entire country of Luxembourg. And what's even more impressive is that they managed to do all that in the span of only 2 years. This positive change is the result of India's continued efforts to preserve their ecosystems and wildlife against harmful effects of climate change. Simply known as the Green India Mission, this project aims to protect, restore, and enhance the country's forests. Local governments are given lots of money in order to protect their forests and plant trees. Ever since the Green India Mission was launched in 2014, the country has seen a continuous yearly increase to their national forest cover. On a similar note, over on the complete opposite side of the globe, the Amazon rainforest is also seeing some positive change. As the single largest rainforest in the world, the sheer importance of this forest cannot be understated. Many experts were extremely worried when a concerning paper about the Amazon was published back in 2020. According to the study, a possible tipping point that could irreversibly destroy the rainforest was nearly approaching. After decades of deforestation under former President Jair Bolsonaro, the Amazon was in danger of not being able to generate enough rain to sustain itself. Yikes. Potentially leading to the disruption of climate patterns in the area and the destruction of huge entire ecosystems. But thanks to the combined efforts of various South American nations and especially Brazil, this upward trend of deforestation is actually slowing down. According to Brazil, deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon is down by as much as 60% compared to the previous year. This marks the highest decrease in the area's deforestation in almost 2 decades. This record-breaking achievement is the result of a newly elected Brazilian government led by President Lula da Silva. Under this new administration, Brazil started cracking down on land grabbers and illegal loggers. Much of the forest was also designated as protected conservation areas. Landmark treaty to protect international waters.
The ship has reached the shore.
A third win for the environment in today's episode, as a groundbreaking international treaty was recently adopted by the United Nations, which could single-handedly save the vast majority of our oceans and marine life. A significant portion of the world's oceans are classified as international waters. These are bodies of water that lie outside of any country's international boundaries. In fact, roughly 2/3 of the world's oceans fall under this category. And because nobody actually owns these waters, there has never been one universal set of rules to govern them. Well, there has never been one until now, that is. With the adoption of the High Seas Treaty, it makes me think of pirates, there's now a legal basis for the conservation and protection of marine biodiversity in international waters. And with nearly 10% of all known marine species in danger of extinction, such an agreement is a monumental step towards their conservation. The treaty will also enable the creation of marine protected areas within international waters, which has previously been impossible to do. With all 193 members of the United Nations adopting the treaty, it also serves as a major victory for multilateralism. During a time with ongoing conflicts and disagreements around the world, there is still space for the cooperation of all countries for the common good. The adoption of the High Seas Treaty is a testament to the ability of the world's nations to come together towards a shared goal and a shared future. When was the last time everyone agreed on something? That's a big win in my book. 29 Australian species no longer endangered. Continuing on the wins for biodiversity is a positive story from down under. Although much of the world's biodiversity is currently in decline, a recently concluded study in Australia has revealed some positive results. A total of 29 Australian species have recovered enough to no longer be classified as endangered. The large-scale study conducted by different Australian institutions took a look at the population levels of endangered species in the country over a period of about 20 years. According to their findings, this positive change is mainly the result of decades of environmental policymaking in the country. Of the 29 species recovered, more than half were mammals. The study found out that these species were previously in decline because of hunting and predators that were introduced to the country, such as wild cats and foxes. Most notable of these recoveries was the humpback whale. The species had seen a significant increase to its population ever since their commercial harvesting was outlawed more than 40 years ago. Some other notable recoveries include the waterfall frog and the common mist frog, which both experienced significant decreases in their population as a result of invasive fungus. This study shows what great effects politicians that actually care about the environment can have. And although the overall levels of biodiversity around the world are still in decline, these recent findings prove that our actions can, in fact, have lasting and positive effects. Bird feared extinct spotted in Madagascar. On a similar note, a bird species that had previously been assumed to have gone extinct more than 2 decades ago has recently been spotted in the forests of Madagascar. The dusky tetraka is a cute and elusive little songbird with a distinctive yellow throat. The species is native to the island nation of Madagascar and has never been documented anywhere else. The bird was feared to have been extinct following the destruction of its natural rainforest habitat, but a recent expedition by Madagascan and American ornithologists cited 3 birds from the elusive species just by a rocky river. The researchers plan another expedition sometime in September or October to further study the elusive species. Revolutionary new drug against bone cancer. Over in the field of cancer research and treatment, researchers from the University of East Anglia have developed a breakthrough drug against bone cancer. This disease is known to occur more commonly among teenagers. Heartbreaking. The lead researcher behind the breakthrough drug was even inspired to study the field after one of his childhood friends died from the illness when he was still a teenager. Current treatment for the disease is largely done through chemotherapy and, in some awful cases, even limb amputation. As it currently stands, the survival rate for people who undergo these treatments is only at 42%. This is largely because of just how rapidly the cancer can spread to vital organs such as the lungs. The new drug, on the other hand, works by blocking the very gene that's responsible for this rapid spread. This breakthrough drug is unlike any of the other treatments for the disease. It alone increases the survival rate of patients from 42 to 63% without the need for surgery or chemotherapy. Though the drug has only been tested on mice, the results are already promising. If all goes to plan, we could see this breakthrough cure undergo clinical trials in the near future. India hits 70 gigawatt solar milestone. Finally, going back to India, this final story is another win for the environment. Can you sense a theme for this episode? The country has recently hit a significant milestone in their solar energy capacity. As of June 2023, India has achieved a total of 70 gigawatts of solar installed capacity, enough to power as much as 70 million households. This figure ranks the country 5th in the entire world. Though this is an already impressive statistic in its own right, it's worth noting that India has only recently begun their transition into renewable energy. Just a decade ago, the country's solar energy production was basically non-existent, making this landmark achievement today all the more impressive. India has historically been reliant on both coal and petroleum to fuel their growing economy. While this might still be the case today, they've constantly been working on changing this. In fact, India was even the very first country in the world to establish a dedicated ministry for renewable energy. They're also behind the creation of the International Solar Alliance, an alliance between 120 countries with the goal of further improving the efficiency of solar technology. Today, India is home to not just the largest solar park in the entire world, but also the second largest. How about that? And despite already achieving an impressive milestone, many solar farms are still being built in the country, with as much as 50 gigawatts currently under construction. As the technology continues to improve both in terms of efficiency and cost, Many other countries are sure to follow India's example. What other good news from your country have you heard about? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.